Good day, friends. I'm Rages, and today we're going to face an issue that's often only whispered about, an issue full of pain, confusion, and fear: polygamy. Maybe you're one of those people in the middle of a complicated situation, loving more than one person, or perhaps you're hurting because your loved one has another loved one. I feel the weight in your chest, the questions that bother your mind every night. What about us? What are the legal consequences of this? Is this right or wrong? These questions are not simple, and the answers are not easy either. I understand your frustration and fear regarding the legal reality of polygamy in the Philippines. The painful truth is that the love you feel, which you think is pure, could lead to legal problems for you, possible imprisonment, and an even deeper wound in your heart and to the people you love. Navigating this situation is like walking in a dark forest with no clear path. Every step comes with dread, every decision has a risk. That's why I'm here to accompany you on this journey. In this video, we won't hide in the dark. We will break down every aspect of this issue with honesty and detail, from the existing laws to the risks involved, to possible solutions and paths to healing. We will discuss each point in detail and honestly because I believe that the first step to solving a problem is to fully understand it. This is not to judge you, but to give you light and the tools you need to make the right decision for yourself and your future. Come, sit down, and let's talk. Many believe that if everyone involved agrees, if the first spouse, the second, and the man or woman in the middle of it all consent, then they are safe. This is one of the biggest misconceptions about polygamy here in the Philippines. The truth, my friends, is complicated and dangerous. Under our family code, the Philippines follows the principle of monogamy. A second or subsequent marriage while the first marriage is still valid is considered bigamy, a crime punishable by imprisonment. The consent of the first spouse is not a defense. Your love for each other cannot invalidate the law. The law is a hard and cold truth that we need to face, and bigamy is not the only danger. We also have what is called concubinage under the revised penal code. This is filed against a married man who has sexual intercourse with another woman under specific situations. Media group: man and woman in secretive conversation in a dimly lit room. Couple meeting discreetly in a car at stock at distribute _equally. If he keeps the woman in the conjugal dwelling, if they have a public relationship as if they were married, or if he has sexual intercourse with the woman under scandalous circumstances. The woman involved, called the concubine, can also be held liable if she knew the man was married. Again, the consent of the legal spouse is not enough to acquit you. The weight of the law can fall upon you regardless of your agreement. Legal risk is not just a theory, it is a real threat that can destroy not only your freedom, but also your family, reputation, and financial standing. Think about the effect this has on your children, the shame it can bring to your loved ones. The love you thought would bring happiness can become a cause of lifelong pain and regret. So before it's too late, it's important for us to fully understand that polygamy in the eyes of Philippine law is a dangerous path to avoid. Perhaps in the midst of confusion you're thinking, what other way is there? How can we combine our lives without breaking the law? There are legal alternatives, but each has its own set of risks and complications. The most common alternative is the live-in setup or cohabitation. Here, a man or woman can live with more than one partner without going through the marriage process. In this way, the crime of bigamy is avoided because no marriage takes place. However, this does not mean that you are safe from all legal problems. Even if you are just live-in partners, the legal spouse still has the right to file a case of concubinage if the man has another partner, or adultery if the woman has another partner. The scandalous circumstances mentioned in the law can be interpreted in many ways. If you openly live as a family with multiple partners, this can be considered scandalous and a basis for a case. In addition, issues regarding property and inheritance become very complicated. Who has the right to the acquired properties? What will be the surname and rights of the children? These are questions that open a new box of problems. Another setup that others do is having secret or parallel families. One family that is legal and recognized by society, and another that is hidden. Some think this is a way to protect everyone, but think about the burden of such a life. The constant lying, the fear of being discovered, the emotional burden not only on you, but on your partners and especially on the children growing up in an environment of lies. The danger here is not only legal, but emotional and psychological. Every alternative to a monogamous marriage has its own shadow of danger. and it is important to weigh all of them before making a decision that will change the lives of everyone involved. A common line we hear, perhaps you even tell yourself to ease your conscience. It was their decision. Or, they agreed, they knew what they were getting into. Whether it's your ex's decision to marry someone else while you're still married, or your partner's consent to enter a polygamous relationship, it's important to clarify and repeat if necessary. In the eyes of the law, the consent or decision of another person is not a valid defense against crimes like bigamy or concubinage. It's not a magic word that will erase your legal liability. Criminal law is not a private contract between individuals. It's a matter between you and the state. The crime of bigamy is a violation against the social order upheld by the government. So even if your first spouse signed a document allowing you to marry someone else, that document has no validity in court. The state, through the prosecutor, will file the case against you, not your spouse. Their consent may affect their credibility as a witness, but it will not prevent the case from proceeding if there is enough evidence. Relying on consent is a dangerous trap. It gives a false sense of security. Feelings change. A partner who agrees today may change their mind tomorrow, especially if there's a conflict, jealousy, or money problems. The moment they decide to use the law against you, your agreement will be worthless. Understanding this principle is crucial. You cannot pass on the responsibility for your actions to the decision of others. Ultimately, you will face the legal consequences of your choices, and the regret of relying on a broken defense can be very heavy. Imagine a situation. You organized a big celebration. Your legal spouse, your second partner, your families and friends are all there. Everyone is happy, laughing, and seemingly accepting of your unusual setup. For you, this is proof that your relationship is open, honest, and acceptable. Look, you'll tell yourself, everyone's invited to the party. Nothing is hidden. How can this be wrong if everyone knows and agrees? But here again, you're mistaken. Being open and honest, while admirable on a personal level, is not only not a defense in law, but can even be used as evidence against you. Being open about your polygamous relationship can be directly used to prove the elements of the crime. For the case of concubinage, one of the elements is cohabiting with her as husband and wife in any other place. You're open living together, introducing each other as partners, attending social gatherings as a polyamorous family. All of these can be used as evidence of cohabitation. The party where everyone is invited can become Exhibit A in court to prove your relationship. Your honesty becomes a weapon against yourself. So don't be fooled by the idea that transparency equals legality. The law is not concerned with how modern or progressive you are in your view of relationships. What it looks at is whether your actions violate the written provisions of the code. Assuming that the acceptance of your social circle is enough to protect you is a big mistake. Friends who applaud you today can become witnesses against you tomorrow. Remember, the court is not a popularity contest. It is an arena where evidence and the law reign, not the opinion of the majority. Now that we understand the dangers, the question is, how do we get out of this? How can we avoid possible imprisonment, and how can we start the process of healing and moving on? The first and most important legal step, if you are married and want to have another relationship, is to secure a final and executory decision of annulment or declaration of nullity of your marriage. As long as it is not invalidated by the court, you are still considered married. The annulment process can be expensive and lengthy, but it is the only legal way to free yourself from a marriage and be free to enter another relationship without fear of a bigamy case. This is the foundation of your new beginning. Once the marriage is annulled, the safest setup if you still want to have a non-monogamous relationship is an honest and transparent live-in arrangement. Since no marriage exists anymore, the threat of bigamy and concubinage disappears. However, it is still important to have a clear agreement, especially when it comes to property and the welfare of the children. You can consult a lawyer to draft a cohabitation agreement that will clarify the rights and responsibilities of each person. This will not give you the status of marriage, but it will help avoid future problems. Most importantly, the most important solution is within you. Self-healing. Admitting to yourself that the situation is complicated and painful is the first step. You need to ask yourself, what am I really looking for? Why do I need this setup? Does it truly make me happy, or does it just cause stress and fear? Asking for help from a therapist or counselor is not weakness. It is a sign of courage. They can help you process your emotions, understand your patterns, and develop a healthier perspective on love and relationships. Moving on is not just about avoiding jail, it's about finding true peace of mind. Listen to me, friend. This is one of the hardest truths you need to accept. The law will not change for you. You can be angry, complain, say it's old-fashioned or unfair. You can argue that your love is special and different. But at the end of the day, the law remains the law. It's a strong wall that you can't just tear down with your feelings or desires. Insisting on bending the law to suit your personal situation is like punching a wall. You're the only one who will get hurt. True change doesn't come from changing the world around you, but from changing yourself. If the path you're on leads to a cliff, you don't ask the cliff to disappear. You turn around and look for another way. This requires courage, humility, and acceptance. Acceptance that the setup you have now, no matter how happy it may be at times, is not sustainable and dangerous. Acceptance that you need to make a difficult decision to protect yourself and the people you say you love from harm. This change is an opportunity to re-examine what true love means to you. Is it about having many people to fill a void in your heart? Or is it about finding a deep, honest, and stable connection? Facing this truth is painful, but it is also the path to true freedom. Freedom from fear, from lying, and from constant fear of the law. Remember, you have the power to change your path. Choose the path to peace, not to harm. As we conclude, I want to leave you with an important thought. Often in our search for love, we get confused and think that quantity equals happiness. But experience and stories of the heart tell us otherwise. True love doesn't need many people to be complete. It needs one person willing to give their whole heart without fear of getting hurt. A love that doesn't need to be hidden. A love that doesn't violate the law or conscience. A love that brings peace, not fear. I know the path out of your situation is not easy. If you are at a point where you need help with the annulment process, or if you feel you need someone to talk to for therapy and healing of your heart, don't hesitate to ask for help. Reaching out is not a sign of weakness, but a brave decision to choose yourself and your future. There are professionals ready to guide you every step of the process, from the legal aspect to emotional recovery. And on your journey, remember this: you are not alone. I am here to support you without judgment. Our goal now is not to blame the past, but to build a better future. A future where love is free, honest, and whole. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, I'm Rages. Take care. Take